In the heart of a volatile world, there lies a nation that made an extraordinary choice. A choice that, whispers through its dense jungles and echoes in its quiet streets. This is Costa Rica, a country that, in 1948, laid down its arms forever. It dismantled its military, turning barracks into museums and schools. This was not an act of surrender. It was a declaration of a different kind of strength, a belief that true security is not found in the barrel of a gun, but in the well-being of its people and the health of its land. A profound gamble, taken in the shadow of global conflict and whispered threats. But this peace is a fragile thing. It is a flickering candle in a world of storms. The borders of this nation are not guarded by tanks or soldiers. They are protected only by a promise that its neighbors will respect its sovereignty and that the international community will honor its neutrality. Every day, this promise is tested. Drug cartels move silently through the region, their influence a creeping poison. Geopolitical tensions simmer just beyond the horizon, a constant, low rumble of distant thunder. Costa Rica stands alone, armed only with its ideals, a testament to a path rarely trodden. The decision was born from a bloody civil war, a conflict that scarred the national psyche. When the fighting ceased, the victorious leader, José Figueres Ferrer, made a symbolic gesture. He took a sledgehammer to a fortress wall, signaling the end of the military era. He proclaimed that the army would be replaced by an army of teachers. This was a radical vision, a belief that investing in education, healthcare, and environmental stewardship would create a more resilient and prosperous society than any military force ever could. It was a bold experiment in human governance, one whose outcome remains uncertain. Today, on this date, June 7, 2025, the world watches. Can a nation truly survive without an army? Can diplomacy and development truly repel the forces of aggression and greed that plague so much of our planet? The story of Costa Rica is not just a historical footnote. It is a living, breathing question posed to all of humanity. It is a dark and suspenseful documentary, unfolding in real time. The central mystery is whether this audacious gamble for peace will ultimately prove to be a blueprint for the future or a tragic lesson in vulnerability. To walk through Costa Rica is to enter an emerald labyrinth. The rainforests here are not just collections of trees. They are cathedrals of life, pulsing with an almost overwhelming vitality. Howler monkeys send their haunting calls through the canopy, their voices a primal soundtrack to this green world. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and exotic blossoms. Brilliant blue morpho butterflies drift like living jewels through shafts of sunlight. This overwhelming biodiversity is a direct result of the nation's choice. A choice to protect its natural treasures instead of preparing for war. In the cities, a different kind of peace reigns. San Jose, the capital, buzzes with the energy of daily life, not the tension of military patrols. Children play freely in public parks, their laughter echoing where soldiers might have once marched. The architecture is a mix of colonial charm and modern design, a testament to a culture that values history and progress in equal measure. There is an underlying calmness here, a sense of security that comes not from visible force, but from a shared social contract. It is a quiet confidence, woven into the very fabric of the city's existence. But beneath this serene surface, a subtle unease can be felt. The absence of a military has not erased human nature. Crime, though lower than in many neighboring countries, still exists. The police force, though well-trained, is not a military. They are peacekeepers, not warriors. They face the growing challenge of sophisticated international criminal organizations who see this peaceful nation as a potential corridor. The lush wilderness that is the country's greatest pride also provides cover for those who wish to exploit its lack of military defenses, a dark side to this green paradise. The people, known as ticos, live with this paradox every day. They cherish their pura vida, the pure life, a philosophy of simple joys and non-violence. Yet, they are not naive. They are acutely aware of the dangers that lie beyond their borders and the shadows that can lurk within. They listen to the news of conflicts in other lands and wonder. They see the heavily armed police of their neighbors and question their own path. Their peace is a conscious daily decision, a constant balancing act between their cherished ideals and the harsh realities of the world. Imagine a national budget where the colossal expenditures of a defense ministry are simply absent. In Costa Rica, this is not a fantasy. It is the financial reality that has shaped the nation for over 75 years. The money that would have been spent on fighter jets, tanks, and military salaries is instead diverted into the very foundations of society. This is the currency of peace, It is a tangible resource, invested directly into the minds and bodies of its citizens. The nation's wealth is not measured in armaments, but in literacy rates and life expectancy. Consider the schools. Public education is a cornerstone of Costa Rican identity. From the smallest rural villages to the bustling urban centers, schools are often the most impressive buildings. Here, educators are not just teaching mathematics and literature, they are cultivating a culture of peace. We teach our children that dialogue is stronger than violence, a primary school teacher might explain, her voice filled with conviction. We show them that their country chose books over bullets, and that this choice makes them part of something special, something worth protecting through knowledge and understanding, not force. Then there is the healthcare system. Costa Rica boasts a universal healthcare system that is the envy of many larger, wealthier nations. Hospitals and clinics are accessible to all citizens, regardless of their income. A doctor working in a rural clinic might share a story of saving a life with equipment and medicine that simply wouldn't be available in other countries in the region. Here, our priority is public health, she could say. We fight diseases, not wars. The investment in our people's well-being creates a stronger, more productive nation than any army ever could. But it requires constant funding and vigilance. This redirection of funds extends to the environment itself. Costa Rica has become a world leader in conservation and ecotourism. Over a quarter of its land is protected in national parks and reserves. This is not just an act of environmentalism, it is a strategic economic decision. The vibrant ecosystems draw tourists from around the globe, creating a sustainable economy built on preservation, not extraction. But this green shield is fragile. Climate change, deforestation on its borders, and illegal poaching are relentless pressures, testing the nation's commitment to its most famous asset. As the world continues its relentless march towards greater militarization, Costa Rica's experiment seems more radical than ever. It stands as a profound outlier, a small nation daring to ask a terrifying question. What if we simply chose not to fight? This question hangs in the humid air, a challenge to the global status quo. The nation's success offers a glimmer of hope, a testament to the possibility of a different path. It demonstrates that a country can not only survive, but thrive by investing in its people and its planet instead of its arsenal. This is the light of the Costa Rican story. However, a dark shadow follows this light. The gamble is far from over, and the stakes are growing higher. The world of 1948 is not the world of today. The threats are more complex, more insidious. Transnational crime, cyber warfare, and economic destabilization are weapons that do not recognize borders or respect neutrality. Can a nation armed with education and healthcare defend itself against an enemy that seeks to poison it from within? This is the gnawing uncertainty that keeps observers on edge, a suspenseful final act that has yet to be written. The voices of the people reflect this deep-seated tension. An elderly citizen who remembers the Civil War might speak of the peace with a fierce, protective pride, viewing it as a sacred inheritance. A young university student, however, might express a more modern anxiety, wondering if their country's idealism is a dangerous liability in a cynical world. We are proud to be a country of peace, they might say, but are we prepared? Are we strong enough to face the challenges of this century without the tools that every other nation deems essential for survival? The question is not one of dissent, but of genuine concern for the future. Ultimately, the story of Costa Rica is the story of a fragile Eden. It is a bold, beautiful, and deeply perilous experiment. Its survival depends not only on the resilience of its own people, but on the restraint and respect of its more powerful neighbors. The nation's fate is a mirror held up to the rest of the world, reflecting our own choices and priorities. Can this unarmed peace last? Or will the relentless pressures of a militarized planet finally overwhelm this unique sanctuary? The world watches and waits, hoping the gamble pays off.